the foundation of all of this is trusted local journalism at the bottom, strong local brands and legacy, and community relationships. And so those build the foundation to be able to do the work that it takes to build those transformational pillars to grow revenue within your company.
Welcome to Keep It Local, a podcast of the Local Media Association. The Local Media Association is intensely focused on helping local media companies discover new and sustainable business models. Welcome to Keep It Local. My name is Ryan Welton with Local Media Association, and today I am delighted to be joined by the co-CEO of LMF, Liz White Notarangelo. Good morning.
Morning. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
You are very welcome. We're delighted to have you. And we have started in our short time on Keep It Local a tradition of getting right into it and not dwelling too much on origin stories. However, in this case, I think it's pertinent. You've come from a newsroom to being the leader of this organization. If you would, tell us about yourself and your journey to becoming co-CEO of LMF.
Sure. Well, I grew up in this industry. I was the fifth generation of our family-owned local media company in Connecticut. It was 158 years old, and we had a daily newspaper, 8 weeklies, and a digital agency. And when I was a teenager, actually, I started going to newspaper conferences with my dad. And even before that, I would come visit our company and when my grandparents worked there. So I was, basically since I was born, I was in the mix of our family business. And then as a teenager, I worked in all departments in our company. And I was really excited when I went to conferences and met all the people within our company, how open everyone in our industry was to sharing ideas and helping each other succeed. So I chose to go to business school so I could bring back what I learned to become the next generation leader of our family business. And after graduating, I was able to go work at another newspaper that was owned by Media News Group at the time for 2 years. And that was the Connecticut Post. And I did a management training program there. So I was able to spend all this time working in each department over that 2-year period. So I was a reporter and a columnist, a sales rep, a customer service rep in circulation. I even had my own press uniform, which was fun. And it was a great way to learn more about the business and the industry before I came back for a year to help launch our digital strategy within our company. We had brainstorming sessions and built cross-departmental team to really dig in. That was 2004. So, that was right when digital was becoming really important. And then I was able to go back to business school and then come back to our company full time. So I got an MBA and came back to our company. So then in my 30s, so I spent a lot of time in my 20s asking why do we do it that way? Because I wanted to learn. And a lot of the answers were because it's the way it's always been done. And we really worked hard on transforming and evolving our company. And when I was in my 30s, then I discovered LMA. That was a really pivotal time for my company and my career. And so I felt really lucky to find LMA and be surrounded by innovative, enthusiastic people, and then spent the next decade really digging in with LMA and learning new business models, new ideas, did all kinds of different LMA programs and innovation missions, conferences, and connections with other LMA members. And all of those strategies helped our company remain family and independently owned way longer than we ever expected so that we could continue to provide trusted local journalism in our communities. And then I was an LMA member for 15 years. I was on the LMA and LMF boards for 8 years. So I felt like having that experience as a publisher and an LMA member really led me to where I am now. And I really loved being a publisher. It was a privilege and an honor, and the community was amazing, and our team members and our family legacy. And it was challenging, but it was obviously, I thought it was so much fun too. And we had so many dedicated long-term employees and community partners. So it was really heartbreaking and difficult when we had to make the decision to sell our company in 2023. But we also knew that the business model was no longer sustainable as an independent owner in our community, a single property independent owner. And we felt this was necessary to support the long-term sustainability of local journalism right here in our community. So then the opportunity came up to do some consulting for LMA last year, as I was happy to work with Frank Mungeme on the Lab for Journalism funding, and then this role as co-CEO. So I'm so passionate, as you can tell, about LMA's mission to reinvent business models for news. And so I'm happy to be here to help support long-term sustainability of trusted local journalism across the country to support a healthy democracy. So that was long-winded, Ryan, but I know you said it might be important for the background.
Yes. And if you don't mind, you were publisher of, what was the name of the publication?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was RJ Media Group, and the newspaper was the Record Journal in Meriden, Connecticut.
Oh, right on. Okay, that's fantastic. I started out in newspapers, so I have a real heart for that. And I, too, was a member of LMA to start, and it really energized me, and it got me really passionate about digital transformation, which leads me into my next question. Because you've seen firsthand how legacy media can evolve, what do you think are the most essential ingredients for a local newsroom in 2025 to reinvent its business model? And where are you seeing the biggest missed opportunities?
Great question. So most essential ingredients, I see there's probably a lot that we could talk about, but the two foundational ones that I think are important to mention today is one is a culture of continuous change. And it probably seems more obvious now, but in 2004, or, when I came back to my company, we all knew that the world was evolving and changing faster now more than ever, and now even more than ever, right? And not to sound cliche, but the only constant really is change. And so anytime we would be talking in strategic presentations with people across the company, we really focused on a culture of continuous change, because newspapers, as we know, weren't used to changing. So it took a lot of reminders to change that mindset over the years. And some people self-selected out, which is okay. But the people that stayed and the new people that came on board really were committed to that mindset of change, to embrace change, not to shy away from it. So that's number one. Number two, I think another essential ingredient, and there's different variations and versions of this, but what we called it at our company was a motto, or a mantra, which was succeed or fail fast. And we actually had it painted on a pillar in the middle of our open office space because we felt that was so important. And what that meant to us was, don't be afraid to take risks and try new things and experiment. And then when you succeed, first just pause and celebrate. Celebrating is really important. And anything that gets celebrated often gets repeated, right? And then also fail fast. If things don't work, fail fast, fail forward, and then be willing to tweak and try again or move on to the next idea. So that was important. And then you also mentioned missed opportunities. And I think I wasn't as good at this earlier in my career, but now I really think that listening is a missed opportunity. Listening to people in our community, and we talk a lot about this in the LMA Lab for Journalism funding, that the importance of community listening for building a foundation for trust within your community and understanding what the community thinks are the issues that need to be addressed and where the gaps in coverage are, not for us to determine that. So I think that's not something that we've all always been good at. And if we do that and we build that ongoing infrastructure of listening, listening conversations, focus groups, community advisory board, attending and hosting events, building those long-term partnerships, then we're really going to hear what the community is asking for of us. And we have dozens of examples of success stories in the Lab for Journalism funding that illustrate the impact that you can drive when you do that type of community listening.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, because we get so excited about digital transformation and the next technology that's out there. AI is a great example of this, that we want to go without or at the sacrifice of taking the time to really listen to our audiences. So I think that's a really great point. You've got me thinking about all the different types of business innovations that I see happening in my role with LMA, things like digital subscriptions, philanthropic funding, and branded content. How can these things coexist with maintaining journalistic integrity and maintaining the public trust? How do they coexist?
Yeah, so I don't think it's just how can they. I think it's essential that they have to coexist and they work hand in hand. And the foundation of any media organization, I hope we all know this and believe it. I'm just, preaching to the choir here, but that it's rooted in journalistic integrity, editorial independence, and transparency, which is how we earn that trust from the public. And we should not assume we have that trust. And that actually goes back to the community listening. You'll often hear that you may not already have that trust, and that's important to, build it and also maintain that credibility. And then only once you have that foundation of trust and really build it and make sure that the community is telling you've earned it, that's when the business innovation, deep relationships with subscribers and advertisers, and then community partnerships can also follow to help build that long-term sustainability. There's a slide that I've shared with you, Ryan, that we used to use, and it was a strategic transformation slide. It was called the 5 pillars of strategic revenue transformation. And the 5 pillars were the focus of how we were growing our revenue. And some of the topics that you mentioned, like philanthropic funding and digital subscriptions, digital agency, things like that are on there. But you'll see in the slide that the foundation of all of this is trusted local journalism at the bottom, strong local brands and legacy, and community relationships. And so those build the foundation to be able to do the work that it takes to build those transformational pillars to grow revenue within your company.
And trust is trust. It's about the relationship with the audience. It really doesn't have anything to do specifically with any one of those particular transformation techniques. You just have to really keep your eye on the ball with regard to audience trust.
Yep.
You've worked on both the business side as a publisher and as a part of a family-owned newspaper, if you will. And this is a question that requires a little vulnerability. But what's one hard lesson you've learned about adapting to digital? And what advice would you give to leaders of a small or mid-sized newsroom who are struggling to keep up?
Yeah. So this is a great question. And I think, and I'm okay with being vulnerable. That's how I think we grow and learn the most. I think we're all stretched in terms of resources and time, right? And so I think the struggling to keep up is a feeling that we probably all have because there's so many different things we can focus on. And the hard lesson that I've learned, I probably learned a lot of them, but when it comes to adapting, not just to digital, but to anything, right? To the change, the pace of change and evolving in general it goes back to what I was talking about before about the succeed or fail fast is when should you fail fast and fail forward? It's sometimes when you work really hard on this really cool idea with a lot of people in your company and you're so excited about it, everybody's excited and maybe you've set some goals and metrics, but then you realize it's not measuring up to what you thought it would be. It's when do you say, okay, it's time to either throw in the towel, fail fast, fail forward, or try it a different way. And I think sometimes we don't do that fast enough. And then the other related to this, it's not my term. It's something that I've heard many times in table stakes and all kinds of different programs is the stop doing list. How do we build a stop doing list? Because we want to do everything. We want to try everything. And I think it can go back to picking your strategic growth pillars and focusing on those. So when things that are new that come up, is it related to the pillars you've set as your priorities? And if it's not related to those pillars, maybe you need to be asking yourself the question, is it important enough to continue doing? Or should it be incorporated into the pillars somehow? Or should we just say no or stop doing it, right? Those two things are related. So I think it's hard to really say, okay, it's time to stop doing this, or because it hasn't worked or because it doesn't align with our strategy.
I think we're coming full circle here because when I think about digital transformative technologies such as AI, the stop doing this list is something that AI is really probably going to be fruitful in attacking. Those things that are eating up a lot of time, but not necessarily really at the heart of our journalism. And I know that AI is going to be a hot topic at this summer's LMA Fest. LMA Fest, folks, is coming up in Chicago, August 18th through the 21st. It's going to be my first time attending LMA Fest proper, and I'm looking forward to that greatly. Liz, tell us what LMA Fest is, who it's for, and what people can expect.
Yes. So thanks, Ryan. The LMA Fest is going to be so much fun as usual. If you haven't been before, everyone's welcome. So everyone in the industry is welcome to attend. If it helps, think about who from your company might be best to have come. There's something for everyone, I would say, but there's a very specific executive track and a sales track. And a lot of that is digital sales growth areas. So we will cover topics like AI, like you mentioned, Ryan, of course, that there's all different kinds of ways to use AI now, and we're going to explore lots of those strategies. Revenue growth ideas, branded content, philanthropy, collaboration. We'll also hear from Google about cutting edge consumer insights data. And then we're trying some different engaging formats too, like table talks and in different ways to get people from the audience more involved in the sessions. And as an attendee and a member of LMA, I've attended LMA Fest for years, and the energy is always amazing. And I'm always so excited to be around so many innovative, enthusiastic people. So we're really excited about it. The event is on Tuesday, August 19th and Wednesday, August 20th.
Oh, it's the 19th and 20th. Okay, I've got on my calendar the 18th or the 21st. I'm planning in travel, but no, there's
some board meetings. There's some collaborative meetings on either end as well.
Well, and Chicago is beautiful in the summer. I mean, it's going to be, if you're from someplace like Arizona or Oklahoma where I am, Chicago is going to be a great place to be in the middle of August for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Liz, is there anything that I haven't asked you as part of this? When I think of LMA, I think of all the different programs and all the things. I think, as somebody who is a member of LMA, I was part of the digital club. I don't think I realized the breadth and scope of everything that LMA does. Have I missed anything? Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Oh, I'm sure there's lots more things we could talk about, Ryan, with LMA, but I think the point that you made about the breadth as well as the depth is that LMA offers to the industry is really important, and that includes things like conferences where there's attendees that are welcome from all across the industry, as well as collaboratives and cohorts where we really people apply and they get accepted, and then we're digging in deep with them throughout a 6 or 12-month period to really help them transform their organization and actually dive into those strategic pillars that we talked about. So, I'm not covering all of them when I say the list here, but the Lab for Journalism Funding and the FIMS Lab, which is the Family and Independent Media Sustainability Lab, the Bloom Lab. We have all kinds of, now we're launching Latito Beat as well, and we modeled after Word in Black. So these are just some of the examples of various things that LMA offers that we're so excited about to be able to work with different people all across the industry.
It is a lot, folks. If you're not familiar with it, localmedia.org is where you want to go. Liz White Notarangelo, co-CEO of LMA LMF, thank you so much for joining us today. I greatly appreciate it. We'll get this cut up and get it out there to the people. If this is your first time listening to this podcast, do me a favor, leave us a review so other people can find us more easily. And again, thank you for your time, Liz, and thank all of you for listening to Keep It Local. This has been Keep It Local, a podcast of the Local Media Association. If you got value out of today's podcast, why not give it a review wherever you heard it? And share it with a fellow journalist or an entire newsroom. Until next time, for Keep It Local, this is Ryan with the Local Media Association.